Good evening. We start our program, weekly review, de facto. We select 3 topics or 3 events of last week happened in Mongolia that may change or shape our social and economic life of the society. So tonight for our program, we have the following topics. First, Labour Party is banned from running in local elections. Another violation against citizens' right for electing and being elected. Government issues a new sovereign bond. Mongolia is in debt and payment shuttle. Third topic, Older People Day is celebrated in Mongolia. Older people must be the nation's treasure. Let's start our first topic. As I said, Labour Party is banned. Labour Party, we call it also Hung Nam, Labour Party. And there is a law, and there's another election is coming on October 15th. It's local elections. We Mongolians vote, elect representative in citizens representative Jargal at IMAC, capital, SOM, and district level. This time it will be on Thursday till 8 o'clock in the evening. These are the new changes in law. Capital city Ulaanbaatar Election Commission on September 16th have registered Labour Party. It is 27 candidates for local elections of Ulaanbaatar city, Rep Jargal. On next day they have given mandates to them, and they are supposed to start they were supposed to start their official campaigning that day. Next day, I mean. But the Labour Party had not that mandate. They have a mandate, but they could not, they would not be participating. It is banned. Why? Because there is a former capital city Hung Nam committee, Mr. Dilger, had approached the administrative court, and his argument was that this party is violating its law, the related laws, because this party is supposed to have organization at city level, which is somehow dissolved. So he had approached that administrative court. And next day after his approach, one administrative affairs judge, Amagalan Nasan Dilger, made order, single judge order, that was abstaining or banning the Labour Party from running. The main reason was in June 2018, the current only parliament member of this political party had made a special resolution signed, and they have dissolved all primary cells of the political parties because there was a new law that allows to doing so. So after this banning, the Labour Party members have been demonstrating up to now for the last few days, and that person, Mr. Dilger, was giving 2 interviews on the local TV where he was really trying to show the picture that this party has disunity inside and not organized political party. So what are the origins of this event? Why this is happening? According to the parliament member Dorchand from this political party, the 3 political parties coalition, Democratic Party, Revolutionary Party, and New Party, have suggested Labour Party to join the coalition. The reason was during last parliamentary elections, these 4 smaller political parties have divided votes. So let's get now united. And the Labour Party had refused this proposal. And now they think that Mr. Dorchand said that this court, this judge decision was pre-arranged, politically motivated. members of Labour Party saying that behind all these happenings there are Democratic Party and the President of Mongolia. That's the members of the party are announcing publicly. And they say that this is good for this all the happening for the sake of the two large political parties in the Mongolia, Democratic Party and People's Party, because these both political parties have been strengthening their positions in the political arena in the country, in power of the country, because they are not giving any chance to the third political power in Mongolia. And that's why they have been arranging they have been changing our election laws before every election since the beginning of 1990, and then they were always using the majoritarian system that allows large political parties to win more. And also recent amendments to the constitutions made also their position stronger, as it has fixed the amount of membership level of any political parties. And in this new amended constitutions, it says that any Mongolian political party is to have at least 1% equivalent membership of all voters in the country, which is totally about 1% is meaning about 20,000 members to be there. So why we are worried about this happening about the banning of these political parties from running in elections? First of all, there is a conflict of laws in Mongolia. Citizens Representative Jargal election law says, 6.1 provision says that the political party has to have a own unit at the level of a region, districts, wherever the election is going on. Only after that they can put on candidates for elections. That's the law. The Representative Jargal law, election law says. But Mongolian political parties law in provision 13.6 says that each political party can have own structure, internal structure, at the level, at the local level, any. So these are the two conflicts. The second issue raised here is if the court or judge or justice system is intervening into the internal affairs of political parties. The political parties law in provision 13.9, it says that internal organizational structure and related its activities of political parties are to be outside of court or justice system, court intervention. And if any disputes arises from these issues, it is internal matter of the political parties. So it is not only issue of this Labour Party, it is an issue of all political parties. And it's also an issue of the quality of democracy in this country. Whether we are going to be just a fake democratic country or truly democratic country. That's the issue, because it has to do with these conflicts of laws. On the other hand, all should have fair, equal conditions for running, campaigning, or competing. And plus, it is violating citizens' rights to be elected and being elected, to elect and being elected. So that's why Mongolia needs to renew political parties law, having all these casualties happening today, and hope it will be done this time. But though they're supposed to start the political parties have already started from yesterday their campaign, but yet the voting paper are not yet printed because this banning that party from elections. Our second topic, Mongolian government had issued a new sovereign bond called Nomad. Yet Mongolia is still in debt and payment shuttle. So nomad bonds are issued. It is 600 million US dollar, interest rate 5.125, terms 5.5 years, and the money is not coming to Mongolia, it goes directly to payment of other bonds. In particular, the bonds called Mazale, which is maturing in April next year, 500 million US dollar. Because the previous bond was 10.8%, now the one is 5.1%. Mongolia is saving 26 million US dollar per year, cutting the cost. Because we have a budget deficit, particularly due to corona situations, and economy is more in a lower motion. This time the government had not get services from abroad or any foreign legal firm. Mongolians have been working online with companies like JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, HSBC, and Nomura. Those underwriters or investors have been buying or selling our bonds. And thanks to this bond, also Chinggis Khan bond, partially, which was supposed to be paid in 2022, is also a bit partially postponed. However, today Mongolian government has total $3 billion bond payments, due the bonds. As I said, 2021, it is Mazale bond, which has the largest bond interest rate in Mongolia, which is paid now. In 2022, Mongolia will pay $1 billion US dollar, largest amount of bond, one piece of land. That has an interest 5.1%. In 2023, we will pay Grege bond, 800 million US dollar, 5.6%. 2024, Horaltai bond will be paid 600 million US dollar, which was at the interest of 8.75. How much we pay for bond interests? Total 4 bonds interest rates we pay around 200 million US dollar, but now it is going to be 176 million US dollar a year. That is almost $500,000 US dollar per day. That's a big money for the small economy. We have been paying debt with debt. So this time a little bit lower interest rate, mostly because every time we pay a bond debt, every time, because we were paying it debt by debt, the next debt was always with higher and higher interest. It reached to this 10.8%. But this time, why we have received that smaller rate? Because with COVID-19, worldwide, there is more liquidity for investment into the sovereign bonds than before. So that's the main reason why they got cheaper bond. The government says that we do it now to equalizing the payment level equally yearly. And also we more to be cautious about the exchange rate fluctuation in economic cycles. Because they have been extending or postponing the payment terms, they're using these terms to equalize this payment system equally. So the government also says that at the time when every country has almost a huge budget deficit due to COVID-19, still the investors are buying Mongolian bonds. That means we still have a good trust of the investors. It's true that it is not that high ranking of that Mongolian sovereign bond ranking recently. For example, last week by Fitch, they ranked Mongolia at B. So how long we are going to stay in this debt and payment shuttle? The first started in 2012 by a Subat-Bolt government. They have given guarantee to the development bank bond, Eurobond, $580 million equivalent, and it was paid after 5 years by Erdenbat government cabinet by issuing Horldai bond at 8.7%, interest rate, and $600 million. Then in the same year, Attong Hoyak cabinet had issued this Chinggis bond, 1 billion plus 500, 5 years and 10 years maturity. Then in 2015, the Saikham Bilde cabinet also issued Dim Sim bond for 1 billion yuan bond, 7.5 interest rate. And in 2016, again, Irtinbat cabinet had issued Mazale bond, which is just now paid. It was just 3 months before election, by the way. In 2017, Irtinbat again, $800 million Grege bond just to pay Dim Sim bond, and part of Chinggis bond, $500 million on time. So now in 2020, Hurulsukh cabinet had issued this nomad bonds to pay Mazale bond. So that's the way how we are dealing with our foreign debt. So how can we exit from this shuttle? First of all, we must receive from the cabinet, from the government of Mongolia, very detailed spending report of each bond by each name. How and what for they have used, what was the efficiency, etc. They should have a very thorough report. That must be also audited. That's what the Mongolian public demand from the government today. Because at the end, the bond, the huge foreign debt of the government is paid by taxpayers. And they want to know exactly what for they are paying. They are not only paying taxes, also they suffer from large foreign debt, sovereign foreign debt, which impacts on the way how they purchase things abroad. It comes with the fluctuation in the exchange rate. So the people have a legal right to demand from the cabinet, from the government, to give us all these beautiful names, bonds, spending report, because we will learn from that report properly. And secondly, we need to diversify our economy. Recently there was an interesting report by the World Bank, Mines and Minds. Truly, we have to shift from mines, or to use our mining revenue for investment into our mines. Mostly IT product, probably, and the state has to support IT development in the country, to train, to increase skills of our programmers, etc., etc. They do tax exempt, whatever other policy that supports IT programming development in Mongolia. Our third topic today is Older People Day in Mongolia. This is International Day being celebrated since 1991 by the initiative of United Nations. In Mongolia, we celebrate it from the next year, from 1992. And the World Health Organization classify as a senior people in the developed nations, people above 65 years old. In Mongolia, we say older people are people above 60 years old. And those senior people in Mongolia make 7.3% of population today who is over 60. And there are 232,000 people. And yet, the pension, retirement pension is received by 331,000 people, 100,000 people more than those people over 60 years old. The reason, there are some professionals, in particular military service, etc., people who got retired earlier. That's the reason we have over 100,000 of them. So out of Mongolian senior people, 232,000 people, 41% male, 59% female. 70% live in urban centers, capital city and IMAG centers, and 30% live in some and rural areas. Out of those people, 232, 40% have so-called pension loan. This is such a product of Mongolian banks. I think this kind of loan is forbidden in many countries. Many of them are getting this loan by the pressure of their children. And they use the money for the consuming by their children. And the senior people in Mongolia also have a challenge. There is a violence against them happening in Mongolia. But they are very active people politically, because in all elections since 1990, always over 90% of senior people are participating in political elections. Mongolian older people have two challenges. One, pension. Second, socializing. Average age of male in Mongolia today, 2019 it means, 66, female 75. This is a 6 years for male, 11 years for female increase for last 30 years since we started democratic path of development. However, the more we have higher this average age, we have more people receiving pension in terms of population. According to Labor and Social Care Ministry, in 2013, there were 4 pension receivers for 10 insurers, social insurers, who's in Mongolia you pay, everybody who's working pay social insurance, including pension fund, and then the 4 persons were receiving who are retired. But in 2030, it will be 7 persons for 10 payers. So this is very alarming signal to think and rethink again about our pension system. Last year, in 2019, there was a new amendments into the retirement law. The retirement age in Mongolia is increased for 3 months every year from now. That means a male born 1977 or after will be retired at age of 65, unlike today 60. Or female born after 2002, today's 18 years old or younger, they will be retired at the age of 65. But socializing, it's a big problem in Mongolia. Only 60 years old person go to get forced to be retired. What they do? They take care of their children. They play domino, chess. Some go to dancing. The remaining time they stay in a long queue for subsidized medicine. That's an interesting phenomenon in the country where every month you will see very long queue of senior people standing in the line to buy subsidized medicine. That's a separate conversation, and it's one of the serious issues. There is a website of social insurance, .mn, for example. You put your register there and go into the website, you will find a certain amount of money in your name. But according to these institutions, it's a fake account, a fake amount of money. Account is okay, but a fake amount of money. And one day it's just for showing how much it will, how it will be used later on. We wish this money is to be real money, not the estimated or approximate money. So what are to be done in Mongolia to care of older people? Not only on the day of celebration of that day, but in the remaining days in between the two celebrations. We could have half-time employment for senior people. They have experiences, skills, and we have only 1 million labor reserve in Mongolia. So those people can be an excellent advisor to businesses. We need to increase hospices for senior people. We have 12, not common, 12 hospices in Mongolia, 4 private ownership, 8 state ownership. We need more. We need diversification of those hospices, and also we need the citizens supporting, caring senior people. You know, we could have, say, computer center at each horo, it's the smallest administrative unit in the town, and where they put, people can contribute a couple PCs, and then young people voluntarily can teach senior people how to use internet, how to buy things online, for example. You know, in Germany, Japan, US, there are senior professionals corps with different names, but mostly those people go to the developing countries, to their own countries, companies who requests those helps, and they just cover their accommodation, and they advise the company, and the senior professional corps pay for their costs, for example. But the most importantly, what is needed in Mongolia is Mongolian retirement fund or pension fund to be separate from Mongolian budget, government budget. It's one today, and that's why the Minister of Finance is a spending to his own judgment. And that special fund should be separate, because it is, the pension fund is the largest money pool in any country, because you accumulate for 40 years and you use just later on. Very good example is Singapore. Singapore, they have a CPF, Central Provident Fund. This is not only managing your pension accumulation or pension saving professionally, that is always over the inflation, so that after you get retired, you have a good amount of money. And finally, Mongolia should have private pension fund as well. The people must have a choice. If I want to have a more support or more fund for my retirement, I must have a choice to have that fund, another pension retirement fund. So that's all for today. We have shared with you our review and our analysis about 3 issues of 3 events happened last week in Mongolia, which is first, Labour Party is banned from running in local elections. Mongolian government had issued new bond called Nomad to pay another older bond. And the last one is Older People Day is to be the day for focusing on their problems. So those are today's our review, and thank you very much for being with us. And you can look at, again, if you want, on our Facebook page and also on our website, jargaldefacto.com. We were on MNB World today. Thank you.